What's good, and welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, January 11th, 2019. I'm Andrea Renee, joined by the Reverend Jared Petty.
I'm looking down right now at the monitor for the first time. I look like a fat guy that's like gonna rob a diamond like museum or something. It's like a heist.
No, you don't. What are you talking about?
I'm like an evil like corpulent mime today.
Is it because you're wearing a high collared black long sleeve shirt?
I don't know what it is. I just look ridiculous. How are you today, Andrea Renee? We don't get to do this together very often.
No, it's such a treat. Both Tim and Greg are gone, gallivanting around the world in different places doing things. So they left us the ship with Kevin and Barrett. We're just going to have a party in here.
Yeah, party time.
Party time.
It's going to be, I mean, seriously, I saw it in the kitchen. Don't tempt me, Kevin.
What's in the kitchen?
What, you guys finished it yesterday?
What's in the kitchen?
There was tequila in the kitchen. I saw it after Fran and I hosted the show yesterday, but now apparently it's gone.
You want some tequila? I'll get you some tequila.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, we can
Thank
make
you.
that happen.
I
We can find some
appreciate
tequila.
that.
I think I know where some is.
Good. You live very close to a liquor store.
I live directly above a liquor store.
That's convenient.
It has its ups and downs. Put it that way.
I can imagine.
There are advantages and disadvantages to living immediately above a liquor store, especially one that specializes in small plastic bottles of hard alcohol.
Those little bottles really are underrated, I think.
You think so?
Yeah. Because whenever lately, I've just been buying, the big size bottles because it's, like, why? You don't want to make all these trips to the store,
Exactly.
right?
Did you watch Buffy and Angel back in the day?
Buffy, yes. Angel, no.
Okay, there's a really good episode of Angel with Spike and Angel on it where Spike is sitting on an airplane looking at the tiny Jack Daniels, single shot bottles. And he's just drinking tons of them. And he's looking, it's like
the nips? Like the single?
Yeah,
okay.
like little, and he's like, why would anyone do this? He's like, why would you shape it like a real bottle? He's like,
because it's
just
cute.
He's like, it's just like saying you could be holding a real bottle of Jack Daniels right now, but you're not. You're holding this tiny bottle instead.
But those little bottles are great for taking on airplanes. Pro tip, you can bring those little bottles through security.
Ooh.
And if you're sneaky about it, you can drink them on the plane, even though technically you're not allowed to bring your own alcohol and open it on the plane. It's against the rules. I'm just making sure that you know that it's against the rules. Everybody listening,
should we be advocating for this? Is this
I'm not advocating. I'm just giving you a sneaky pro tip.
Okay.
All right. Pro tip.
Everyone from the FAA who's watching right now, it was Andrea that advocated that. I
don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
This is Kinda Funny Games Daily. If you're watching live at twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, thank you so much for joining us here on a Friday morning. We would hope that you could assist us by keeping us honest and heading over to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong when we screw something up on the show. Yesterday, some of you wrote in things that I very clearly said in the show. And some of you also wrote in things that were factually inaccurate. So I would just implore you, if you are going to utilize You're Wrong, which we obviously encourage you to do, make sure that you're doing it correctly.
Got 'em.
And that we're actually wrong, because that's what it's there for.
Yeah, so if you're going to tell us we're wrong, you actually have to be right. I think that's
exactly
the deal.
what I'm saying, Jared.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the deal right there. Also, good use of implore. I like that. That's
oh, thank you.
I implore you. Like that's powerful.
Underutilized word.
It is underutilized.
If you're not watching live, of course you can find us on podcast services all around the globe and over at youtube.com/kindafunnygames. I've got a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, we are celebrating Kinda Funny's 4th anniversary all month long here at Kinda Funny Games and at Kinda Funny. If you guys want to participate and help us get to our awesome stretch goals of getting to London and to Australia, please head to patreon.com/kindafunnygames to see all about the new shows that we've added and to learn about the world tour and of course see all the different memberships that you can be involved in, like the bronze membership, which allows you to write into the show, send Jared and I questions to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. And I've got some news. We hit one of our stretch goals. Well, it wasn't a stretch goal. It was just one of the actual goals pretty early in our fundraising anniversary stream on the 4th. That means Kinda Funny is going to Arizona and we have a date. Yeah, it's exciting, right?
Wow.
Arizona's very lovely this time of year. January 26th. Put it in your calendars, best friends. That is when the January meet and greet is going to happen. We will follow up with you guys shortly with more details to come, but make sure you just block out the entire day, January 26th, if you live in the Arizona area, and come on over and say hello.
Ever since they first put Arizona as one of the goals, and they got it, I've been imagining, you remember that scene from early in Raising Arizona where John Goodman just rises out of the mud screaming, like he emerges from the earth in the rainstorm screaming.
I don't recall it.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, no. This is from Raising Arizona. John Goodman, there's mud outside of prison. He just bursts through the earth, like crying out, and then reaches in and pulls another character out by the feet. And I've been imagining Greg doing that in Arizona, like, and then reaching down and pulling Kevin out, like upside down, like slowly through the mud and holding him up. I want that to be the way this thing begins.
It might be challenging because that would require rain, and deserts usually don't have much of that.
They do not have a tremendous amount of rain.
But when they get it, it comes down torrentially.
Yeah, and that's what's going on in that wonderful, wonderful scene.
Yeah.
Coen brothers at their height of their powers, Raising Arizona. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
You have digressed.
I have
I've
digressed.
allowed you to digress.
You have allowed me to digress. Don't do it, Andrea. Rein me in.
The bigger news, though, Jared, is that this afternoon we're going to be streaming after Kevin's debut show, Screencast. Don't forget to stick around after if you're watching live to do the rest of the anniversary stream shout-outs that we owe you guys, plus playing a little bit of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. As you guys may have remembered, there were a ton of you that donated or pledged, and we owe you your shout-outs, and you will get them.
Rad.
Come hell or high water.
Hell or high water indeed.
And today we're brought to you by Quip and Hims, but we'll tell you more about that later. For now, let's get into what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news.
Let's let Courtney take on it. It's like it's a little bit of a different cadence to it.
I appreciate the improvement, Barrett. That's very nice. Kevin, you've been coaching him, I see.
No, he really hates the way I do it.
We got the Coelho cadence and the Courtney cadence. You're gonna have like a little
3 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
Thank you so much. So let's just get into it. As most of you know, since almost all of you wrote in to us about this story and tweeted to us, Bungie has split with publisher Activision and maintains Destiny rights. So a lot of different outlets wrote this story up. We chose the one from Colin Stevens over at IGN. And he writes, Bungie and Activision are parting ways after entering a publishing agreement in 2010, with Bungie maintaining publishing rights to the Destiny franchise. Bungie made the announcement through Bungie.net. In the official statement, they said, with Activision, we created something special. To date, Destiny has delivered a combination of over 50 million games and expansions to players all around the world. Following this 8-year run, Activision has transferred publishing rights for Destiny to Bungie, allowing the developer to fully control and publish its own property. Bungie further stated, with our remarkable Destiny community, we are ready to publish on our own, while Activision will increase their focus on owned IP projects. The planned transition process is already underway in its early stages, with Bungie and Activision both reportedly committed to making sure the handoff is as seamless as possible. Bungie says it has learned a lot from Forsaken, Destiny 2's latest major expansion, and has assured fans that more is on the way and will continue down the path of existing Destiny roadmap. This will include more seasonal experiences in the upcoming months. Blizzard customer service also confirmed on Twitter that Destiny 2 will continue to receive full support on Battle.net for PC players and that no service or gameplay disruptions are expected. What else is in store for Destiny 2 beyond the current roadmap is unknown, but it's possible Bungie will aim to publish a third Destiny game on its own in the future. Following the announcement, Destiny 2 director Luke Smith tweeted out the line, "Guardians make their own fate," a famous quote from the original game. This publishing partnership first produced the original Destiny in 2014 and then, of course, later Destiny 2 in 2017. And it's possible the split was made after Destiny 2 had reportedly not performed as well as Activision hoped, though Bungie is likely to be happy to have regained its publishing autonomy regardless. Last year, Bungie announced a partnership with Chinese tech giant NetEase to explore new directions and build new worlds, suggesting the split from Activision has been in the works for quite some time. Bungie and Activision originally entered that partnership back in April 2010. At the time, a 10-year exclusive publishing deal was announced, though Bungie has maintained its independence as a studio outside of this. Prior to this agreement, Bungie left Microsoft in 2007 in order to become an independent company, ultimately leaving publishing rights for Halo in Microsoft's control. So we've got, like as I mentioned, we had a ton of questions from you guys about this story. So let's start with Anthony Palorino. What's good, Andrea and Jared? This question is mainly for Andrea, but I'm sure Jared has some wise industry commentary to do with Bungie's split from Activision. What do you think will be the future of Destiny 2 will look like? And what do you think the future of the franchise as a whole will look like?
Oh, here we go. Wise commentary. I'm the wrong place to look for this on Destiny. It's a game that I pick on a lot, but actually have a lot of appreciation for. They've accomplished some pretty spectacular things. I mean, I think Destiny 3 is a foregone conclusion so long as they have the liquidity, and I don't think they would have made this move if they didn't have the liquidity unless they were forced out. This doesn't read like a force out at this stage in the story. Therefore, I think Destiny 3 will probably happen. And as for what that looks like, I think, Andrew, you're far, far better equipped to tell us what that's going to be.
It's tough to say because it's over the last couple of years, Bungie's position on Destiny and Destiny content, I don't want to say has wildly changed, but it feels like they haven't maintained a consistency in the type of publishing schedule they want to maintain, and that makes it difficult to predict how they're going to move forward. Last year in 2018, we saw them fundamentally take a different direction with the way that they started releasing content. And now with the new annual pass that's happening here in 2019, we're really seeing them make good on some of the promises to the community that they've made over the last year. They had a big powwow conference, what have you, back in May with a bunch of really popular Destiny content creators, streamers, YouTubers, etc., to kind of talk to them about their communities, how they see the game, things that they would like to, feature sets that they would like to have in the game going forward, and how they would like Bungie to support them, because that community is as much important to Bungie's success as just the people who are picking up and playing the game or buying the game, right? And so it's going to be interesting now that they're an independent publisher to see how they're going to take that creative control and really utilize it to give back to their community in a way that maybe they were handcuffed from doing previously.
That leads to two follow-up questions for me, if you don't mind me asking.
Of course.
That are related to that. One, just very quickly, because you're much more... Did you see this coming?
No, quite frankly, I didn't, because having a publisher like Activision on your side gives you some flexibility and also some security to make sure that you can sometimes take risks that are going to be bankrolled by a publisher who knows that even if you take a risk that, we'll still be able to float that development cost if that is necessary.
Yeah.
So I did not see that, but there have been rumblings that the relationship between Bungie and Activision hasn't been, peachy keen for the last couple of months in particular. And when the NetEase announcement went public back in June, right before E3, I think a lot of people were asking, what is NetEase's involvement going to be? So for people who aren't aware, NetEase is a giant Chinese publishing company that has a stake in several companies. And I just wanted to provide a little bit of context that they gave Bungie $100 million, which is not an insignificant amount of money.
Yeah, that's a little bit of money.
It's a lot. So that gave them a minority stake. And Bungie said at that time, Pete Parsons, who's the CEO, said that he wanted Bungie to independently self-publish games. So they kind of set the groundwork back then. I think we all just either forgot about it or just aren't thinking about it. So that doesn't seem like that long ago. And it's also worth noting that Wedbush analyst Michael Pachter, who some of you might know, estimated Destiny's revenue total has exceeded more than $1.6 billion since its launch in 2014.
Wow.
So that being the case, what were the pain points, you think, between Activision and Bungie? What there's been rumors of difficulty in the relationship. Does anyone outside the company actually know or have informed speculation on what caused the split, why Activision would be willing or even eager to let Bungie go, why Bungie was eager to get away?
We don't have those details yet, but I imagine in the coming months they will emerge, right? I guess that there will be people asking these questions and hopefully having these conversations. I'm sure there's a lot of confidentiality involved around this deal, as there tends to be in deals like this, because $1.6 billion is a lot of money, and Destiny was touted as the most successful new IP in this generation.
Yeah.
And that's, something to be applauded for sure. Obviously, I'm a giant fan of that franchise. And I think that Activision has been happy with how Destiny has been performing in their overall portfolio, but we know that Activision cares the most about money, right? And so you have to ask yourself, what happened with Bungie's finances that they first off wanted to bring NetEase in with a substantial investment of $100 million? And how has their revenue potentially dropped over the last 2 to 3 years since Destiny 2 launched? Really since, because they had a really nice resurgence in like year 3 of Destiny. And then the first, year and a half of Destiny 2 clearly was much rockier than I think anyone anticipated. And now they're just starting to find their way again. And as a longtime fan, the really frustrating part about all of this is that now Destiny has been a thing for going on its 5th year, right? And I just don't know why Bungie hasn't been able to kind of find their groove yet. It's like I don't understand what's taking so long.
Do you think that this is something I've wondered about? And again, you're better equipped to answer this than anybody. Do you think it's possible that Bungie has placed themselves in a situation where, because the game's extraordinarily asset and AI heavy, like the fact that it takes a long time to build levels for Destiny because of the kind of levels they are, that AI behavior takes a long time to build, that models take a long time to build, that it's unlike MMOs, that they're in a situation where logistically they don't have the resources to create new material on the scale that the players demand? Are they in that spot?
It's possible. Fran and I were talking about that a little bit yesterday and when we were talking about Destiny. And I think it's worth reminding people that even though Activision and Bungie both have a lot of money and Destiny has been a very successful game overall, it does cost a lot to make.
Ooh,
I had an alarm go off on my phone. Sorry about that, everybody.
Riveting things happening here on the Kind of Funny Games Daily Set.
I must have that was the alarm that was supposed to go off an hour ago or 2 hours ago. It never went off.
Oops.
So I think it's worth reminding people that the type of development that Bungie does on Destiny is incredibly expensive. And it's worth also reminding people that Activision Bungie made a $500 million, or had said that they were planning to make a $500 million investment at the start of Destiny. Also not an insignificant number, right? So but big games cost a lot of money. If you compare it to Activision's other more successful franchise, Call of Duty, that game every year that it comes out is hundreds of millions of dollars in development. I am partially concerned about Bungie's ability to maintain a release schedule, knowing how much it costs. It's tough to know because on one hand, it's like, well, how do you run the numbers with Bungie being a self-publishing entity? Like, how much more of the revenue split are they going to get? Is it going to be enough to offset the development assistance they were getting from Activision? Are they going to continue to maintain their strategic marketing relationships? So they have been doing a long-term marketing deal with PlayStation on this franchise for both Destiny and Destiny 2. Is that relationship going to change now that Activision is no longer at the table doing that negotiation with them? Are they going to do that negotiation on their own? Are they going to maybe say, hey, we're going to go to Xbox instead? It's interesting. JT also wrote in and said, hey, Jared and Andrea, with the recent news that Bungie is split from Activision, I have several questions that I'd like to get your opinion on. Do you see them being bought by Microsoft, considering they've been interested in purchasing as many studios as they can recently? 2, since they kept Destiny, their plan is probably to continue releasing DLC for it. But with that being said, do you think their next game will be Destiny 3, or do you think they'll go for a new IP? And do you think there's even a 1% chance the same thing could happen with Blizzard, or am I just dreaming? Thanks, JT.
Yeah, I love that one.
P.S. I genuinely appreciate Jared, and I would like him to know that.
Oh, well, what a sweet thing to say, JT. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, first question, no. They left Microsoft very specifically during the Halo era. I do not see Microsoft purchasing them. Perhaps, like I just mentioned, a strategic marketing partnership with Microsoft for whatever's coming next for Xbox, but definitely not going back under the fold. I do not see that happening. 2, since they kept Destiny, their plan is to continue releasing DLC. Will it be Destiny 3, or they'll go for new IP? I don't think that we're going to see a new IP immediately from Bungie, but they definitely are working on it. They've hinted as to such. Back when they made this announcement with NetEase, they said that they intentionally took that money to help them develop new IP.
Yeah.
So we know that they have something in the can. At the very least, they're doing R&D on some concepts, right? Destiny 3 is definitely something that's going to happen. If it's going to be called Destiny 3, remains to be seen.
Well, it's always nice to have another leg to stand on if you can. I mean, and also it pushes internal innovation. And also, people who create video games like to do new things. When you've been making Guardians for 7, 8, 9 years in a row, some of the people that have been there have been doing that. You kind of sit there going, I sure would like to design something that's not a Guardian. I sure would like to design something that's not a shooter level. You spend a long time doing. That's the nature of creative people, and I think that studios kind of have to create at least those R&D projects just so their folks don't get so caught in a rut that they can never ever escape from what they're doing. Otherwise, you tend to bleed talent off as they get bored and go off to do other things.
True.
And I'm with you on a Destiny 3 just because of the brand recognition, and also because they know even better than we do that next gen is coming, probably 2020. And they're going to want to have a product that they can move into that cycle. Destiny 3 is a way easier thing to sell than Bungie's new IP you've never heard of. At least that seems that way to me.
Absolutely. Making a brand and building a brand from scratch is incredibly difficult. Kinda Funny knows that. They created Kinda Funny from scratch. I know that from creating What's Good. From creating Hop, Flip, and a Jump Play. The amount of effort that goes into creating a brand identity is difficult to put into words, just how massive it is, particularly when you extrapolate it to a brand as big as Destiny is around the globe, and how many different audiences there are, and the amount of community building they've done over the lifetime of this franchise. It would be completely the word I'm looking, I want to use the word asinine, but it's not strong enough of a word.
Ooh, wow.
To describe how just stupid it would be to walk away from this incredible IP that they've created.
Can we make a new word like uber asinine or like super asinine? There's got to mega asinine.
I'm sure. Yes, let's make a new word. I'm sure there's an actual word in the English language that represents what I'm trying to express. But I'm just not thinking about it now. But basically, the answer to your question is no, they're not going to abandon Destiny. That's not going to happen.
Oh, a sidebar on that then question I'd like to ask about following up on that. Destiny has a historically contentious relationship with its community. It's both beloved and sometimes reviled by the people who love it.
Correct.
And
I know this very well, Jared.
Yeah, you know this better than anybody, I think. So let me ask you this. How much does Destiny and Bungie leaving the Activision fold buy them goodwill with their community? How much will be forgiven on this? How much of what has happened in the past might even be blame shifted to this, appropriately or inappropriately? And how much of a fresh start are they going to be granted by the community? And how many starter mistakes are they going to be allowed this time around, since they're doing it on their own now?
These are all great questions. And Jared, Peyton Marcotte also had these questions. Says, what's good, Andrea? After I saw your retweet yesterday about the Destiny publishing news, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on this news? Will speed up the release of a Destiny 3 so they can get in on the ground level of the game systems without the forceful desires of Activation. I think you meant Activision. And he says, be gone, Eververse. So Eververse, of course, is the in-game store where you can give real-world money to get random rolls of bullshit.
Be gone, Eververse is beautiful. That's a good motto. I like that.
So to kind of answer that question, from what I've seen so far, the widespread sentiment is excitement and happiness from the community that Bungie is going on their own and getting rid of the shackles of their overlords, and that they'll be able to make financial decisions. How they're going to change those decisions, I think, is really going to be interesting to watch, because now the pressure is 100% on their shoulders, and they can no longer blame Activision for any of the decisions that they make with the game. Now it's their call. So everything regarding microtransactions or loot boxes or DLC price passes and things like that, all of that is going to be decided by them. So if they fuck it up, they fucked it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they have to take all of the blame.
Yeah.
But I think the community is ready to give them the chance to do the right thing and to do right by their community. And I'm excited for them to take the mantle and to do something exciting with it. And I don't know what that means because we haven't ever seen Bungie like this. I don't believe. At least were they independent before Microsoft?
Bungie Unchained. I mean, yeah, they were independent before Microsoft. Bungie was produced mostly software for Macintosh before Microsoft.
God, that feels so long ago, Jared.
Yeah.
Probably because it was a really long time ago, before Halo. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I mean, how that's all going to come together remains to be seen, right? We don't know what they're going to do with this newfound power, but I hope they do the right thing. And I hope that they keep making great content. I hope that they don't forget about people like me who love campaign missions and story missions and don't just want to do multiplayer encounters all the time. Because a lot of the stuff coming in the annual pass seems like it's very multiplayer focused. So we'll see. I would love another campaign.
Yeah.
I feel like the lore of the world of Destiny is so fascinating and so deep and so rich that I just want to spend more time in it. And that's been a big complaint from some Destiny fans about some of this new content. So we're in, the Black Armory right now, the season of the Forge, and there's this new character, Ada One, and she's like kind of been reduced to a quest giver, and it's really disappointing.
Ada One?
Ada One, yeah.
So all I heard was Ada Wong for a second. I was like, wait a minute, were you Resident Evil? I got a little confused.
No,
okay,
close.
sorry.
And so she seems to be a very interesting character that has a really neat backstory, but we don't really get to do anything with her. And that was a big complaint with the baseline campaign of Destiny 2 and its DLC expansions that happened. They introduced several new characters this time around, and we don't really get to do much with them, which is kind of a bummer.
So it's like, that sure is a character. They're probably interesting.
Yeah. This character, Anna Bray, who is such a badass in the world of Destiny.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is like be in a fire team with her on a mission.
Yeah.
And like see her fight beside me.
Do you think that we're in probably a wait for Destiny 3 before you see another campaign situation?
Oh, definitely. For a full campaign, yes. I hope we get something along the lines of Taken King before Destiny 3 happens, because I doubt we're going to get a Destiny 3 type game this year. I would imagine it would happen 2020, and it might even wait until the next generation.
Yeah, I wonder
whatever,
if you target next gen.
Whatever next consoles are going to be, right? I think that might be Bungie's play.
Yeah.
But, Jared, we're just going to have to wait to find out.
This is very exciting. There's things happening here.
Now, we knew that this was going to be the bulk of the show today, but we do have some other things that we want to get to. So let's move on to the next item in the Roper Report. Amazon has reportedly entered the game streaming space. So this comes from Hansa Shaban over at the Washington Post. Amazon is planning to use its massive cloud computing service to jump into the streaming market for video game play, according to a new report from The Information. Just let that sink in. It's literally called The Information.
The Information.
The service, which could potentially bring top-notch titles to virtually anyone with a smartphone or streaming device, could make Amazon a major competitor in the space already in play by Microsoft and Google. While most big-budget video games require users to own a gaming console or a computer to run, Amazon's reported streaming service would live on the tech giant's cloud network, freeing customers to play elaborate, robust games even on their mobile devices, the report said. The service is slated to launch next year.
Yep.
So this is, when you told me you added this to the Roper Report, I at first was like, yeah, duh. Of course they're getting into the streaming space. It absolutely makes sense that Amazon, with I think the largest network in the world, is Amazon Web Services the biggest.
AWS is not just, so it's not just a network, it's the amount of storage space. There's a lot of ways to measure this, but they're a huge player. Let's put it that way. And I think the main reason I dumped it in there is because there's a time frame on it. Next year. Right. Now, 2020. There we go. We now have an idea of when this is actually going to happen. Also, there's a disclosure by Washington Post. By the way, we're owned by Amazon. They note that later in the article, but we trim that part out there. But I think it's important to note here it comes. The arms race is beginning. This has become very apparent now. We've seen Microsoft. We had the Assassin's Creed beta that kind of came out of nowhere on the Google side, and now something's going on, folks. And will it sink? Will it swim? That's going to be up largely to what consumers decide to do with this and what the final products look like. I'm not thrilled at the idea of Amazon in this space compared maybe to some of the other players, on account of the fact that I don't think Amazon has ever been quite as good at providing services as they have at providing easy ways to buy things. Amazon's service-oriented approach has never impressed me.
Agreed. Their service has actually been notoriously bad.
Yeah, and it's hard to find things. It's hard to get to things.
And it's hard to get help when something goes wrong.
Their movie player doesn't work. You go on and on and on. But when it comes to buying things,
they
they're
love
incredible.
Selling stuff.
Yeah.
They're when they started in the retail space, and that's clearly their biggest point of sale right now, and where they make the most amount of money. That being said, I don't want to discount their global dominance and how that really could affect their success in the streaming space. I still think Google stands to be the most successful of the people who are looking at doing game streaming. Microsoft has a really good chance of throwing their weight around because they have a lot of experience in the gaming space in particular over Google and Amazon, even though obviously both of those people are playing in the mobile gaming space and have been for quite some time. It's just like this whole idea of game streaming seems like it's always just on the edge of the future.
Yeah.
Right, like it's coming, but when is it coming? Because we haven't quite seen it yet.
That infrastructure backbone is what everybody's been waiting on. They're waiting for the hardware. I've said this in the show before, is the least sexy and most important part of this idea. The fact is that people in business don't like to talk about hardware because it's not a lot of fun and it's boring and it's expensive but if you don't have a hardware backbone that can support fast streaming, you can't have streaming games, no matter how good your compression is. I think we're now reaching the point where the hardware is catching up, at least in a lot of places in America. And that means that we're going to finally see people making real plays at this. When we consider the people that are talked about in this article, Microsoft obviously has the technology and gaming expertise background. Google has the greatest discovery background. And discovery is such a huge issue in making this work. Amazon's strengths are selling you stuff, which is going to be maybe very appealing for certain developers and publishers, maybe, but I don't see a lot there in their current ecosystem that makes me feel like that's the place I want to go to play my games. Maybe that'll change.
The issue still remains, though, Jared, and those are all really good points, that despite how successful they may be with building their infrastructure, it still is going to rely on the user's access to high-speed internet.
Yeah.
You can have the fanciest phone, the best servers on the back end, but like if the connection is bad, the connection's bad, and the experience will be bad. And you and I both have gotten to try the streaming service from Google in the Assassin's Creed test that they did with Odyssey, and the tech is really cool.
Yeah, it's startling.
But I pay for fiber internet, so it was always going to be cool when I'm using my high-speed fiber. Yeah. But if I'm on my cell phone and I can only get a 3G connection in the area that I'm in, how good is it going to be then, right?
Yeah, I think this is, we're looking at probably, my suspicion is that we're looking at a 5-year rollout nationwide as back ends get built. I also think that we wouldn't be hearing these murmurs now if the companies involved weren't confident that they can at least saturate coastal markets and major cities and get enough to build their level 1 groundwork for a next gen after that. That's my suspicion, is that they're probably going to largely target urban areas.
I mean, they have to.
Yeah, because that's where people have
people have the fast internet.
Because I go home to my in-laws in Kentucky, and I look at the speed of their and I'm like, ooh, this would be painful, I'm guessing. I think that we name players like Microsoft, Amazon, Google. These are the people that literally own the internet.
Right.
And if they're making this kind of commitment to the software, then they probably have pretty definitive plans on finally upgrading the hardware backbone to make this whole thing work, including the high-speed internet.
Well, I hope so. They better, Jared. Let's move on to our final story of the Roper Report. THQ Nordic is at it again. They have acquired IP rights to the classic sci-fi action-adventure Outcast. This is from Matt Wales over at Eurogamer.
Before you start reading, Andrea,
yes.
I said it before. I'm still waiting for the day that we report that THQ Nordic has acquired THQ Nordic. It's going to happen. It's going to happen
Jared.
one of these days.
So they have started the new year in much the same way it finished the last one and announced that it's acquired the IP rights to yet another classic franchise. This time, those are the much-loved sci-fi action-adventure Outcast. Originally released in 1989, it featured an ambitious proto-open world structure and told the tale of the absurdly named Cutter Slade, a former U.S. Navy SEAL who finds himself on an alien planet known as Adelpha. A tastefully modernized remake known as Outcast Second Contact was released on PC, PS4, and Xbox One in 2017. THQ Nordic hasn't offered any indication of what it intends to do with the IP, just that the deal has been finalized with 3 of the original creators of the game. Outcast is, of course, the latest in an increasingly long line of classic IP acquisitions by THQ Nordic. Last year alone, it snapped up the rights to Carmageddon, Time Splitters, Second Sight, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, Alone in the Dark, and Act of War. It also hosts THQ properties including De Blob, Destroy All Humans, and Darksiders. And I also wanted to add to his story. In November, they also announced the acquisition of the intellectual property Expeditions, which has been finalized with Logic Artists. The deal comprises Expeditions Conquistador and Expeditions Viking and its respective DLCs. Furthermore, Logic Artists and THQ Nordic have agreed to start development of a 3rd game within the Expeditions universe.
Can THQ just announce a partnership where Nintendo, we've had the NES Mini and the SNES Mini. Can we just have the GBA reissued with nothing but old THQ GBA games on it? That's what I want. Like all those crappy THQ games that made that console what it is. The second tier, well, I guess I'll buy this for $10 out of the clearance bin games that kind of defined that generation of handheld gaming. That's what I want. Do I care about Outcast and Cutter Slade? No, I don't. Is this important? Yeah, it is, because you know what somebody out there does, and I am all for resurrecting old properties, reinvesting in them, rediscovering them. There's a lot to be said for mining old ideas and filtering them for the nuggets of gold that are still inside them. So why not see what you can pull out of these? I like that THQ Nordic is doing all this. I hope they can stay solvent in the process.
That's the biggest issue here, is you can't spend all of your money buying IP and then not do anything with the IP. Then you're just going to have a really expensive library of pieces of paper. Mm-hmm. It's like, what's the point of it all if you're not actually going to publish a game? So I am looking forward to maybe getting some numbers about how Darksiders 3 did for them. Mm-hmm. My suspicion is it didn't do very well because of the time of the year that they released it.
What was up with that release window?
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
They should have released it now, like in the middle of January.
Yeah.
Like if they had released it this week, it would have been perfect
We'd
timing.
be talking about Darksiders 3 right now.
Because there's literally nothing else happening.
Uh-huh.
So, but who could say what's happening inside their minds or what they're going to do with these IP, Jared? It's going to be a long time, I think, before we see. But what's not that far away, Jared?
What's not that far away?
What came to Mom and Grab shops today?
Oh, boy! Could we find out from the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday?
Do.
Yeah.
Nice work, Barrett. Ooh. Out today. Sorry, I had to get us here. We're running long. Hive Jump is on Switch. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey is on 3DS. I can't believe that's the actual title of the game.
I hate that's the title, but I am absolutely going to run out and buy that one because Bowser's Inside Story, if you never played it, is great.
It is.
Yeah.
New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is on Switch today.
That's a not miss game right there.
Now with more Blue Toad. Everybody wrote that story up, and I was like, I have to mention it. Stellar Interface is on Switch. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And there's also the anniversary bundle for that game as well on Xbox One, PS4, and Switch.
Symphonia or GTFO?
Exactly. New dates. January 24th is the day that the Jackbox Party Pack is going to be free on the Epic Store. If you guys have never played any of the Jackbox games, you are missing out. They are so much fun. Love the folks over at that studio. Isle of Madness, the latest and largest story expansion to date for the Elder Scrolls Legends, officially releases on January 24th as well for PC, iOS, and Android devices. Deals of the day. Edith Finch is free on the Epic Game Store right now. Also, a fantastic game. One of my favorite games of 2017.
Yeah, a beautiful, wonderful video game. You simply need to play this. If you own a computer, it will probably run Edith Finch. It's not a particularly demanding game.
Right.
And yeah, just go. What Remains of Edith Finch? Go to the Epic Store, download it for free, no strings attached.
It's wonderful. But now let's get into some reader mail, and it's brought to you by Quip. The new year means new resolutions, and we've got one you're working on twice every day. It's your oral health with a Quip electric toothbrush. Sticking to good habits is simple. The guiding features are the built-in support system for better brushing. I love my Quip toothbrush. You know why? Because it does those little pulses every 30 seconds, so you know when to move to each side of your mouth. I'm not gonna lie though. I was gonna lie.
I changed my mind.
Well, I was gonna lie and tell you that I brush my teeth for a full 2 minutes every single time. Somebody calling me?
I don't. Your phone is very excited.
Somebody's calling me on my computer.
They've gotten the good word about Quip.
They have gotten the good word about
Quip. They want to
Quip.
tell you about it.
But I love that it pulses, because then I know if I'm brushing my teeth and it hasn't pulsed once yet, I have to stay brushing my teeth. Don't give up. Make it at least for the first 30 seconds. The multi-use cover works as a stand. It mounts to mirrors and it slides over the bristles for when you pack it. You can protect your Quip on the go. Plus, there are no wires or a clunky charger, and it runs for 3 months on a single charge. Brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. And it's a nice, friendly reminder that it's time for a refresh and to stay committed to your oral health. And that's why we love Quip, and over 1 million happy, healthy mouths do too. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/games right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's right, your first refill pack absolutely free at getquip.com/games. Kind of Funny Games Daily today is also brought to you by Hims. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35.
Ain't it the truth?
Jared knows this better than most. Thing is, when you start to notice hair loss, it's too late, guys. It's easier to keep the hair you have than to replace the hair you've lost. And
Ain't
that's
it
why.
The truth?
And that's why there's ForHims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. These are well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. So that means no waiting rooms, no awkward in-person doctor visits, and you can save hours by going to ForHims.com. Nick and Andy use it, and they love it. And they both have really great hair, so I understand why they want to keep it, Jared. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
You guys can try it too. You can get a trial month of Hims for just $5 today by going to forhims.com/gamesdaily while supplies last. They've got all of the details over on that website. It would cost you hundreds if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy, but you can go to forhims.com/gamesdaily and start for just $5 today. forhims.com/gamesdaily. And just as a friendly reminder, since we are now beginning reader mail and it's the end of the first week of Kind of Funny 4.0. If you guys want to submit questions to reader mail, you have to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and join that bronze membership tier. It's great. You get all kinds of cool stuff.
Andrea, do you think there'll be a Kind of Funny 4.1? Like, is there going to be an incremental update?
That's a good question. Maybe.
I've been wondering about
No,
say,
we don't
Jared?
do those. We don't do those here.
You don't know increment. Then why is it 4.0?
Just full updates.
Then why is it 4.0? Why not just 4?
No, because we definitely might have. I mean, like,
Yeah.
we got the E3 conference thing.
It's true.
The Kind of Funny Games Showcase?
So is it going to be like, is that going to be like, is it like D&D 3 and then D&D 3.5? Is there going to be like Kind of Funny 4.5?
It'll be like Kingdom Hearts 358 days.
No, it won't.
Okay,
Don't you
there we
bring
go.
that
I
up.
love
2 days.
that. There
Oh
we
my
go.
gosh. But don't forget, Gamescast is out today at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. I'm on it.
You
It's really
are
fun.
on it, and you're
Jared's
wonderful.
on it.
And boy, do I have the worst take ever on that episode.
I almost
Worst take
I
ever, period.
I almost fight Jared in Gamescast today. It gets really intense
I
during
really
that one
enjoy
bit.
arguing with you. It's so much fun. You're always
thank you.
right, but it's just so much fun.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm not always right. I'm just mostly right.
Yeah, you're mostly right.
Is it as bad
it
of
really
a
is a lot of
take
fun.
as liking
I
Donkey
can see
Kong
what time it
64?
is.
What about
Kevin's in the back, like pointing at his watch. You guys, I do not like how the tables have turned. It's really not great.
I honestly didn't even have to do it. I just really wanted to.
We need to get Andy to make us a 10:45 emote now.
Is that already? Oh, you're right.
Right, because it says 11:45. Yeah, we got to get a new one. All right, so first up from Marv K. Greetings, Marv YK? Mavryk?
Mavryk.
It's Mavryk. That's what it is.
You got to know when to fold them, know when to hold them.
I don't know. It's with a, I don't know. It's weird. Okay. Anyway, greetings. Earlier discussions this week about how prolific the Wii was for Nintendo and hardware sales because of how easy it was to use got myself wondering if we could ever see a replacement. Every time I visit my grandma in the retirement home, I see a small group of residents gathered around a Wii in the common area playing various games in Wii Sports. The best Wii game.
Oh, so good.
How many other ways has the Wii been adopted and there is no longer a device to replace it? Could we possibly see a discount version of the Switch that loses portability by dropping the screen and battery to build the device directly into the dock? With a different case, the Joy-Cons are basically Wiimotes. Nintendo could once again recapture the casual gamer market with barely any effort and without affecting their current product. I'd call it the Nintendo Switch.
Switch.
With
Switch.
Switch?
The Switch.
That's bad. That's thanks. This is a really great question and something worth considering because there's tons of people, as you mentioned here, that are still playing their Wii.
Yeah. I still have mine plugged in for various things. There's some games you simply can't play except on a Wii, and I really enjoy the fact that I liked that control interface. The Wii is my all-time favorite console. I love it very, very much. It's dear to my heart for a lot of reasons I'm not going to get into here. But Nintendo was very purposeful when they came out with the Switch that they wanted to disassociate themselves from the then poisoned Wii U brand and prove to people that, by the way, we do remember how to make the games you really remember loving from 10 or 20 years ago. For Breath of the Wild, when it came out, was a statement. You've been complaining that we're holding your hand? Handcuffs coming off, folks. Go on in, do what you want. Die instantly. We don't care. And the whole thing was built around that idea. So I think they are reluctant at this point to associate themselves too closely with the Wii and casual gaming. That will change. I think that'll change in another couple of years when they've shown people a library of games that, like, no, we're not abandoning the platform. We're not doing the Nintendo thing where we come out strong and then the second half of the life cycle completely disappear. Then I think we'll see them re-enter a focus on that, but I don't see it happening for at least 2 years. And I don't think it happens as a Switch.
No, it definitely doesn't. I mean, we have been speculating about something happening with Switch hardware for quite some time. I, quite frankly, like the Wiimotes better than the Joy-Cons. I think that they are form function just easier to use. They really were innovative at the time. And while I know that the Joy-Cons can do pretty much the functionality of what the Wiimotes did, I just like the Wiimotes better.
So do I. They were more, well, the Switch controllers, the Joy-Cons, are a hybrid. They are designed to accomplish many things at once.
Right.
The Wiimote was very purpose-built. Nintendo doubled down on the kind of games you're going to play on Wii. And while they succeeded in some areas, for example, capturing the new casual gaming market, bringing millions of new people into gaming, they also suffered. Nobody wanted to port, PS3 and Xbox 360 games to Wii because the control interface was different. And that cost Nintendo sometimes as well.
Indeed.
But I still think that purpose-built Wiimote was the superior controller.
We agree there, Jared.
We do.
All right. Next question. Wiz83 asks, my question is in reference to gaming pundits and critics with regard to their use of social media. Before we get to my question, no one owes anyone a moment of their time and attention on the internet. Is there a spoken or unspoken rule about replying or even liking posts from private accounts? I'm primarily speaking about Twitter, but I think speaking broadly about social media would be useful. Is there a more effective way of speaking with your favorite creators, like through their Patreon? And for parting, what's some social media etiquette, aside from being nice to people, that people should be following, but not yet enough do? In between the asterisks for more context and not meant to be read. So I won't read it.
All right, there we go. That's an interesting one. What are your thoughts on that, Andrea? You have a lot of social media interaction.
Yeah, so this is the reason I pulled this question is because obviously we ask for your guys' feedback and we ask for your questions on the show quite a bit. Your interaction with KFGD is essential to the success of this show. So I really appreciate you asking for some etiquette. I would suggest that if you're trying to get in contact with somebody, that to not overdo it. There are plenty of times where somebody maybe missed your first message. So a follow-up is always a good call. But following up too quickly or following up too many times can be problematic for a variety of reasons. And when it comes to people, like, let's take the guy with the biggest social media following here at Kind of Funny, Greg. So he's got over 1 million followers on Twitter, right? That's bananas. There's no way he's going to see all of the people who write to him every day. So you just kind of set your expectations that if you're going to try to tweet to Greg directly, he's probably never going to actually see the tweet that you sent him because his notifications are just constantly on fire. I would imagine, if he's a smart man, and he is, that he's got some of the filters that Twitter allows you to use so that it filters out some of the things on Twitter. But it's tough because we want to be able to interact with you guys as much as we possibly can, but there's just no physical way for us to respond to every time somebody reaches out to us. I would suggest that if you want a better chance at interacting with creators like myself or Jared or any of the folks here at Kind of Funny, that Patreon is a great way. All of us have Patreons, and we tend to pay much more attention to all the comments in the Patreon because we know that the people who are in our Patreons are committed to helping us create the content that we love to make. And that means a lot to us. And we're all really appreciative and grateful for that. And not to say that if you can't afford to be part of the Patreon, we don't care about you. That's definitely not what I'm saying at all. We understand that everybody has budgets and restrictions with what they have going on in their life. It just means it's easier for us to interact with those people because it's a much smaller siphon of people.
Yeah, the way I've handled that, I look at Patreon, and I've also, we built a small closed Facebook group. And for people that don't have the ability or don't want to give on Patreon, they post there very often. And I'm pretty likely to see something that pops in that group because we've kept it fairly small. It's only about 1,500 people, and that means that I'm going to see just about everything that pops up sooner or later. It may be a week before I see it, but I usually end up searching it out and finding it there.
That's the same for the What's Good Games Facebook fan page as well. We have a closed group there that we have some fantastic moderators who run. It's tough because the Kind of Funny Facebook group is massive.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 10,000 people in there now, I think. So sometimes it's even difficult to, get your, comments seen there too.
As it scales up, it becomes harder and harder. But all of us care. I think it would be fair to say that most of us allocate time during our weeks to go read comments. I don't by clicking on everything I like that I read. I don't reply to everything I wish I could reply to. I do my darndest to read a lot of it. And sometimes I fail, by the way. I never proactively take this for granted, how privileged I am to have a really cool job like this where people want to interact and have great suggestions. But I have many times failed people in getting back to them and replying as I should. I just have. And I think that deserves to be said. And that's not just me coming down on myself. It's true. There are times that I should have done better.
No, absolutely. And we only have so many hours in the day, and sometimes we just get overwhelmed and can't respond. And so I would say to you is if you're reaching out to any of the people here at Kind of Funny and they're not responding, please don't take it personally that we're intentionally ignoring you. The most likely answer is that we didn't see it, or if we saw it, we didn't have time to respond to you. And we love that you guys reach out to us, and please don't stop, but please don't take it that we're, intentionally saying, oh, I don't like that guy, I don't want to respond to him, unless you're being a dick, and then we probably don't want to respond to you. Yeah, you know who you are, Mr. Rojas. All right, we have a couple more questions, but unfortunately we are running out of time and we've got to get to the end of the show here. So let's head into Squad Up. And because we didn't have one yesterday, I have two for today. Elijah over on Xbox, whose gamer ID is EVM9000. EVM9000, that's his name.
That seems like a robot that RoboCop would fight.
It does, doesn't it? Hey, best friends, I want to squad up with some best friends. I frequent Fortnite, Overwatch, and I'll be in Anthem. I'll be all in when Anthem comes out. Hell yeah. I'll be playing Anthem on Xbox too. So if you guys want to play with Elijah and some Fortnite and Overwatch right now, again, EVM9000. And then the Nanobiologist on PC, Very Presidential with W's. I love this. So it's the word very, but with a W. So VEWY, and then presidential with a W. PWESIDENTIAL. Hilarious on Steam. I'm looking for people to play Rainbow Six Siege with. As we approach year 4, I have over 400 hours in the game, and my friends have moved on to Escape from Tarkov. I'm usually available to play in the evenings after 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to take down some more OPFORS with the best friends, is that an abbreviation for
forces?
Opposing forces?
Yeah.
Is that a thing I'm supposed to know, Jared? Is that
don't
like
think
common gamer colloquialism?
No, I am completely pulling that out of my butt and basing that's military nomenclature.
Do you guys know? Have you seen that before?
What is it?
OPFOR.
No, I'm too dumb for that.
Opposing forces? I'm pretty sure that means.
Opfors? I guess I'm not hip with the lingo these days. He's also Happy Poo Time on Uplay. That's happy_poo_time.
The sequel to Happy Gilmore.
What?
How much of my face can you see right now?
I can see all of your face. I can't see your
like
beard. The monitor. Now I can just see your eyes up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna go for.
Right
Jared,
now,
were you
see
just
your eyes.
talking shit about
But
Happy
if I
Gilmore?
sit up really straight, I can see more. Now I can just see your eyebrows. Okay.
This show's so dumb.
It really is, but in a great way, Jared. So we ask people at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to help keep us honest by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong to let us know what we screwed up as we screwed it up. And Jared has the iPad, but I have it here if you can.
I have no idea what the passcode
Okay.
is. We used to have it over there.
So
This just keeps happening.
speaking of the nanobiologist, he wrote in first and said the word that's worse than asinine is imbecilic.
Imbecilic?
Is that how you say that? I know imbecile. Well, I
Yeah,
know what an imbecile is, but I guess I've never used it as an adjective.
All right, hold on. Okay, so right, what? This is not. What? No, where is it? Kevin, come back over here. It's not up again. Somebody had like something Juicy Camp or something up on here.
Lucy Camp?
I don't know.
Shout out to Lucy Camp.
Yeah,
I think it
shout out to
said
Lucy Camp.
Juicy Camp.
No, you're a pervert, dude. He's making stuff up.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Somebody's name. Jared's soft tones and boring stories make me sleepy.
That's true. I mean, that's their name on Reddit or on.
That's your wrong name they wrote in.
Yeah.
I do like your soft
So
tones.
you
Yeah.
had it. Why did you?
What?
What's that?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
THQ Nordic also acquired the IP rights to Space Jam. Is that true?
Nice. Let's go.
I actually don't believe that.
That would be amazing if that were true. I have no idea. If
I think
it
that's
is
a
or not.
false hero.
Oh, you have it open right there. Okay. I
Yeah,
thought we could share it.
Squires
Sorry.
writes in and says, I realize Amazon Web Service isn't a household name, but it already has a ton of clout in the corporate space that might appeal to games publishing companies. Some of its largest users include Netflix and GE. Lord of Pound says Bungie currently has no plans past August 2019 for Destiny 2. The rumors by Anon the Nine, a person that got everything right about Forsaken and Season Pass content on Reddit, stated a new expansion in the fall with another Season Pass was the plan, and D3 was currently aiming for a 2020 release. Plans can change, though, especially when talking that far out. This is what I assumed as well, so thank you for that update, Lord of Pound. Fargo Brady says Microsoft owns the strongest GPU-enabled servers and has more spread out data centers in the U.S. compared to AWS, meaning the visual networking performance will be much better than the others, especially in rural areas. That's very interesting to know, but that, again, is just for the United States. Amazon has a much farther reach, I believe, globally than Microsoft does, but I could be wrong. Kevin's fake laugh says that's the name they wrote in with.
Yep.
Kevin's fake laugh. THQ acquired the rights to manufacture and sell the Wii U and the Vita. You lying liar! Oh my gosh.
I really like Jared's soft tones and boring stories make me sleepy. Then we get down to Kevin's fake. Oh wait, there's another one. Do you see this one? Andrea screams from the other room.
Why are you guys writing?
Great.
That's a good one.
They write, he or she, I don't know. They write, best way to reach Kind of Funny is Reddit. They abandoned the Kind of Funny forums. Oh, it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of true.
Well, the Reddit really is a great place to
on
communicate.
Reddit already.
Yeah,
just go to
Doing
Reddit.
Reddit stuff, you know?
Yeah, that was just
doing all that Reddit stuff.
consolidation.
Hey, by the way, don't forget, you get Reddit Flair now over at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames.
But that is true. I mean, I do haunt the Reddit and love to talk to people there if I can.
Also, the Resident Evil 2 remake one-shot demo is out today, which I totally forgot about. The Dead or Alive 6 open beta is out today only on PlayStation 4, which does require PlayStation Plus. Thank you, Zaire, for writing that in. The nanobiologist says it's pronounced OP4, OP4.
OP4.
I still don't know what it means,
Opposing
though.
forces. It's down there a couple of times.
Now you guys are just writing
it's a
in.
military term. It's a military term.
Wisemark writes in and says, time to wrap it up for Screencast. Jared, this has been really fun.
This has been a lot. I love co-hosting with you.
We got to do it more often.
We should.
Let's
You're the
kick
best.
Greg and Tim out all the time. We'll
I'm
just
okay with
take
that.
over.
I'm good with that.
Thank you so much for joining us here at Kinda Funny Games Daily. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast service. Head on over to youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Maybe hit that bell. Smash the bell for those notifications when we upload a new episode. But for now, we're going to go play some video games. Don't forget, we're streaming this afternoon. We've got shout-outs to do and Smash Brothers to play. And by we, I mean not me. For now, I know, I was about to say that right now, Kevin. Don't interrupt my outro. I had a flow going.
Oh man, that sucks.
But now I can just sit here and hold your show hostage.
No!
You could do
How
that.
about that, Kevin?
What if you just talked the whole time? Just keep going.
All right, Jared, this has been fun. It's been our pleasure to serve. Stay tuned for the debut of Screencast.